What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sean, and today we're going to talk about Resident Evil Village on iPhone 15 Pro Max. Let's get into it. All right, so we're just going to jump right into this video. So iPhone 15 Pro Max is out. It's been out for a little over a month. And during the presentation, the keynote for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, we were told we're going to get AAA titles that we'd be able to play on the iPhone. And one of the first ones that's available for us to play right now is Resident Evil Village. So played for about 15 or 20 minutes of Resident Evil Village. And I'm just going to talk about some of the things I like and some of the things that I didn't like. First off is latency. So when you play this game, you've got a couple options. You can play it just straight on the device and use the in-person, in-house controls that we have here. Let's see if I can bring them up on the camera here. But you got your in-house controls. So that's one of the ways that you can play this game. The other way you can play this game is if you pair it with a controller. I have a PlayStation 5 controller that I paired it to. And I will say this, when you play it on the in-game controls, there is a little bit of latency, or at least I experienced a little bit of latency when playing the in-game controls. When I switched over to the controller, actually felt a little bit smoother, but you can still tell that you're connected through Bluetooth and it's not super responsive. It is pretty good for a mobile game. I would say it still doesn't quite replicate console level. Again, it just released. Maybe as updates come out to the game and updates come out to iPhone 15, that we might see a little bit better latency with this. Now, I will say it wasn't something that was unbearable that I couldn't play. I actually enjoyed playing much more with the PlayStation 5 controller than I did the on-screen controls. Super clunky with a little bit of the lag. I could just tell that getting into any altercations or action in this game was going to be very frustrating. Now, I don't think in the gameplay I actually got to any of the fighting of the monsters. I've played this game a little bit before, and I know how involved the scenes are. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but I know how involved the scenes are in the fighting, that playing on the in-game controls just aren't going to cut it. So if you have another controller, if you have an HDMI that you can plug into a monitor and play, I highly, highly recommend playing it that way. It's going to give you the best experience in terms of latency and lag, and you're going to have just the better console-like controls. Second is warmth and battery. Okay, so I played this game for about 30 minutes, and the phone only got marginally warm, and I am playing in this Phone Rebel case, which isn't a super thick case, but it is something covering the device. So playing this game with a case on for 30 minutes, it just got marginally warm. The warmth you would expect if you were playing some type of game on your phone, especially a game that's AAA, that's supposed to be pulling and using a lot of this A17 Pro chip. For 30 minutes, it wasn't uncomfortable. And playing on controller, you know, you're not holding the phone, so it's not as noticeable, the warmth. But even after playing on controller and picking the phone up, nothing too crazy. Nothing like we saw with overheating issues, which I'll just put out a disclaimer. I didn't experience any of the overheating issues, but what people were saying about the overheating and this phone just getting super hot, since the latest iOS 17 update, I still haven't experienced any overheating. And playing this game for about 30 minutes, you would think it being an intensive task would be the thing that would overheat my phone, and it didn't. So at least for me, I didn't experience super hot temperatures. In terms of battery drop, I started off playing at 95%. I played for roughly about 30 minutes with the handheld controls. That's the only way I kind of tracked the battery. I didn't track the battery when I played with the controller, but just pulling this out of my pocket at the charge that it was at, 95%, it only dropped 10% to 85. All right, so for 30 minutes of play, I got my brightness up pretty high. I was using my AirPods Max to listen to the sound. Again, I've got this case on, 10% for 30 minutes. I'll let you guys be the judge on if that's good or bad for you. I don't know how much time you want to get out of your phone, what you deem worthy battery life performance. But for me, if I was on a 10-15 minute break at work, just chilling, waiting in the line somewhere to get my food, 10-15% battery power, actually not bad. I could actually tuck this back in my pocket and go the rest of my day and probably get full functionality out of my phone. So for me, battery drop was only 10%, which in my opinion, I don't think is that bad. Next is graphics. So the graphics are so-so. There's certain scenes, at least in this initial gameplay, where it looks really detailed, looks really good, and then when you get out in the open or there's a lot happening on the screen, it starts to look a little fuzzy and a little distorted, not crisp all the way through. Now, I didn't mess with the resolution or the graphics settings or anything like that. So if you have this on iPhone, if you've been playing this, if you know any settings, optimal settings to be able to play this at the best level, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know. I do want to continue playing the story on mobile. So let me know. But on my initial playthrough, I just played with the traditional default settings of just starting the game and playing. I didn't change anything. And so to me, definitely a lot better than some games I've played. It being a AAA title, I could definitely see the attention to detail in some of the graphics. But whether it's just because it's over Wi-Fi or, again, it's not optimized fully, I did see that it looked like the iPhone was struggling in some regards to give you that crisp, clear picture all the time. So graphics, I would say, are 50-50, but for the most part, being a mobile game, at least for my initial experience playing it handheld, it wasn't unbearable. Other than the clunky controls, kind of giving me a little bit of motion sickness when playing it handheld, the graphics weren't terrible. I think in sporadic playthroughs, I could actually get through the game on controls. However, again, optimal play experience, I think you're just going to get much more fun, and just you're going to feel like you're playing the game a lot more efficiently using your controller. So again, okay, so that's kind of segues into the point here, controls versus controller. If you're on the go, mobile, you don't have the ability to carry a controller with you, I still think this is very playable with the on-screen controls. If you're at home, you're at a hotel, you have the ability to bring a controller, you have the luxury of having a monitor or something set up to play, your best experience is going to be with controls. So I know I mentioned that a lot through the video, but that it was one of the bullet points that I have. Definitely go with controller until they fix the on-screen controls or make them a little bit more intuitive. If they continue to bring AAA titles to iPhone, if they play like that with the on-screen controls, you can forget it. You're going to want to play with a controller 100% of the time. So controls versus controller, controller gets my vote. With all that, we look at honest opinions and can Apple, how do I want to say this? Can Apple have a future in gaming? I would say yes and no. Honest opinion, this plays really well. It's definitely not unbearable. You can play it with on-screen controls. Much more enjoyable with the controller. But I would need to see a follow-up to this. So obviously I'm going to continue playing Resident Evil Village, but a follow-up would be the Resident Evil 4 remake. How are those controls? How does that play? How are the graphics on that game? And then I would need to see a third title. All right, so followed up by a third title. How do they consecutively play these AAA titles on the iPhone will tell me if I think it's the future of gaming. Again, they're going to release the iPhone 16 Pro or whatever they're going to call it next year. Bigger, better chip. Will Village play better on the newer phone? I don't know. Right now, we just have the iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's all I have to judge this off of. And so, am I excited? Yes. Would I say off of Resident Evil Village, does this just rip the Band-Aid off for the future of gaming for Apple? I don't think so. I definitely think it's a step up. The A17 Pro chip is bringing you the ability to kind of break that realm where we're used to playing it on a console, we're used to playing it on Mac. You can now play it on your phone. So I think just that in itself is a breakthrough, but I don't think it's 100% optimized. And if I had this on a console or if I had this on a Mac, I probably would play it there first, honestly, before I'm even playing it on my phone. If this is all I had, super exciting that we're getting more than just like the Apple Arcade dev type games. We're getting actual AAA titles, so that's exciting. But I wouldn't say just quite yet, like Apple's the future of gaming. All right, I've said this in a previous video. Apple's MO is they give you incremental upgrades every year. So unless their new chipset with the MacBook Pros and the M3 that are coming really bust the door open for being able to game, I still think there's a lot that needs to be done on Mac and iPhone to really say we've got phones and consoles. I don't think we're there yet. But honest opinion, fun game, playable, not terrible. But again, if I have console or I have Mac available, that's probably where I'm going to play it first. Okay, so those are my initial thoughts of the game. Again, I only played for about 10 or 15 minutes. Didn't get into too much action or anything crazy. I'm going to continue to keep playing the game and testing it out and see how it does. But let me know in the comments below, have you played Resident Evil Village, whether it be on console, Mac? Are you playing it on the iPhone 15? Are you playing it right now? I want to know, what do you guys think of this game? If you've tried it on iPhone, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And I'd love to see you answer that question as well. Do you think Apple has a future in gaming? Let me know. I'm not convinced, but only time will tell. But that's it for this video. If you liked this video, found it entertaining, go ahead and give your boy a like, subscribe so you know when new content goes live. But like always, be blessed. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.